Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at XRP. This is going to be a lower time frame video. There is a higher time frame video up above, so if you haven't watched that, make sure you do. That'll be going over the higher term moves here, and what we are going to be discussing now will be the internals of those counts. Okay, so let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so what I want to talk about here first is there's a couple of ways we've been discussing this move. So we're talking about a couple of possibilities. We're talking about the potential that we could actually look to complete a 5-wave sequence into this low, in which case we're looking for a bigger B wave up into this area here, and then looking for that C wave down. Alternatively, within this count, we could also argue that we have something more along these lines where we're actually looking for this X wave. Now, this X wave could potentially be completed, or we could still see a little bit more of a push up here towards this 1-to-1 area here, which would be the 75-cent region, which would be 1-to-1 of the previous X wave. So going to be keeping an eye on this. It is also potentially possible that this X wave is completed here or over here. If it's completed here, we could be forming a flat correction to the downside, which means we're going to sweep these lows. Alternatively, if this X wave is completed here, what we could be looking for is this structure to start to the downside in 3 waves from this point. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these 2 different options within this corrective move to the downside. There are other alternatives, but this is effectively what I'm just keeping an eye on at the moment. If we're looking for that possibility of that continuation to the upside, what we could see is 2 things here. So we need to be careful because this could actually be an A wave to the downside here. We've moved up towards a 786 here, and we've actually come down and started to break down in a bigger way. Now, if we do form a 5-wave move where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and actually see retracement down here towards this 3871 to this 34607, then potentially we could actually have this C wave in play where this becomes A, B, and C. Now, 1-to-1 would actually be here at this 37 cent 90 region. Now, if we do see this as a 3-wave move down here, we have the potential that we could actually still see continuation to the upside in this C wave. So we're going to be discussing the possibility of that 5-wave sequence to the downside here now, and then we're going to be talking about the other possibility of that direct continuation up. So if we're looking at that possibility of this C wave looking to push us down into those lower levels, what I would be looking for is something along these lines. So we're going to come into the 1 hourly here and get up in this business. Now, what we'd be treating this as would be a 1-2, and then looking for this potentially as looking to extend down. Now, the problem is at the moment we need to see a move down towards this 37.29 region, and it is possible this could be building a series of 1s and 2s here. And then next thing we'll see this look to break down in a bigger way. So what I'm looking for here for confirmation is actually a push down towards this 43.108. Now it is possible within this, like I said, we could be forming additional 1s and 2s here, which could look to push us beyond this level, but this would be our typical level we're looking for. So this is looking for that potential of a breakdown. This would be viable for as long as we hold below this 49.72 level, and look for that possibility that we could actually start to break down in a 5-wave sequence. What I want to see is a break of this wave 1 here, and then seeing this actually starting to accelerate to the downside here. Now within this, we would then be looking for that potential of a 4th and a 5th. Now if we are looking for that possibility of a bigger 5-wave move, where this is 1-2, we'd need to actually see a move down towards this 37.29 area as a 1.618. So if this is the case, this could be indicating to us that potentially within this, if this is going to be a wave 3, we might actually see this this wave 3 actually move down rather down towards this area here of this 39.45 as a 2.618, and that would indicate that we're going to be getting some extension within here. We potentially get this as 1-2, 1-2, maybe another 1-2 here, and then we start to break down in a bigger way, looking to target out this 2.618 area. We don't have confirmation of this yet. You know, this is just looking at the count here, looking for that potential of that breakdown here. If we did see this white 3rd wave actually play out into this zone, what we'd then be looking for potentially would be a target area here of this 36.155 to this 34.367. So this would be looking at that potential of actually breaking down in this way, where we're actually looking at this as a C wave. So that would align with the idea that from further back here, we have this as A, B, and C. Now, the problem with this is we'd have to be very careful, because if we have something like this playing out, you can see here that our target box would actually be towards this 0.786 here, to be this 34.607. What we need to be cautious of here is if we do start to form another 5-wave move to the downside here, we need to be aware that we do have a more bearish count where we're actually looking for that potential that we see price break down in a bigger way, in which case we have this as a 1 and a 2. Now invalidation of this comes by crossing this high here, this 58.48 region. Until we actually cross that, potentially we could have this as 1, this is 2, and then we could be looking for this bigger third wave. So this is what I'm saying. If we are going to get extension within these waves, we need to be careful, because if we start to break down towards this 30-cent region, effectively what we could have here is that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this would be aligning with that idea of getting a bigger A, B, and C to the downside. Looking for that idea of that Z wave, where we're actually looking for a lower target here. So based off of this high over here, effectively what we're looking for is a move down to at least this 0.618. But 1-to-1 is actually here at this 15.15 level. So need to just be careful with this. If we do start to continue to form this, impulsive move to the downside here, this could align with coming back into these levels. But alternatively, what we could actually have here, if we do form that 5-wave move down here, would actually be that we could have this X wave over here. This is A, this is B. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, and that would actually align with coming into this target box here, which would be this 27.152 to this 21.417, and that would align with this just being A, B, C, and that could just be our Z wave completed here. And then we could look for that potential for a reversal to the upside. So gonna have to keep an eye on this. If we do have this as A, B, and we get this bigger C wave to the downside here, potentially what we could see is 5 waves down, reversal to the upside, taking this high, indicating that there's not going to be any more extension to the downside, because once we take the high here, we can't see another 5-wave move down, not within this sequence anyway. Okay, so that's looking at that idea of the breakdown. Now we also have a potential here where we could see price actually look to push to the upside. Like we said earlier, potentially we could be looking for a bigger B wave here, or alternatively, we could argue that we're going to see a push down, find support, get the C wave. If we are looking at, however, at the bullish case, where we could say that we're looking for a much bigger move to the upside here, what we could actually have is setting up a 1s and 2s here. Now, this would be the bullish case. We'd be looking for the potential that within this, we have this as 1, 2, then we have this as 1, 2, and now what we'd be looking for would effectively be the third wave 1, 2. So this is looking for the potential that we have 1, 2, 1, 2, and then this would be looking for a bigger push to the upside. So the 1618 of the blue count, which would be the most important one at this point, would actually be this zone here of this 93.42. That would be where we want to hit for this target of this 1, 2. This would be our third wave target. Look for 4th and a 5th, which could then give us a series of 4ths and 5ths, looking to push us up towards this $1.37 to this $1.16 area. So that would be looking for that continuation to the upside in that way. Now, what we would also need to be on the lookout for here is that if this is 1 and 2, we can't cross this zone of this 41.154. Technically speaking, if we do form another move like this, it could still be 1, 2, but I wouldn't like it anymore, because this wave 2 would be bigger than the higher degree wave 2 further back here. So it starts to become less likely. If that's the case, it's going to be more likely this is A, B, and we're going to see a C wave to the upside. So this is looking, just for this impulsive nature here of this move. And what we'd be looking for within this would be, if we come back down here and look at the internals of this, what I want to see here really, if we are looking at this as a wave 1, it wouldn't be the greatest way, because we'd have to count this as effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an extension here within the 5th wave rather. And this normally doesn't happen. We normally get it in the 3rd, but it doesn't actually break any rules. So for as long as we hold 41 cents, we can potentially look for this count where this actually becomes a wave 1. And when we're looking for this wave 2, technically speaking, this wave 2 could have completed over here, but the structure isn't looking great. If we were going to try and count this as a 5-wave move, we'd have to count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here, and then this would all be a corrective move. Now, the reason I don't like that is because the corrective move is quite big in that case, and we'd only really get validation of this by actually getting a bigger move up here, where we look to push up towards this 54-57 region. So we'd have to see a substantial break to the upside here. But, like I said, I think that even if we are looking at this, it's possible that we could still see continuation down. So the idea here would be that within this count, we could have this as A, B, and C for W. this is an X wave, and then we could actually be looking for a Y wave to the downside. Now, given the current structure here, what we'd actually be looking for, our 1-to-1 of our Y wave would actually be here at this 43.92 level, which would be coming back past some of these swing lows. So I'll be interested in seeing if we actually do get a push down into these levels. Alternatively, if we were going to argue that what we have here is this is an A wave and we're looking for a B wave to the upside, what we could see is price could actually see a move to the upside here, where we see a 3-wave move back into this 51.42 to this 49.77 region. We form this as A, B, and then a C wave down. Given our current value, if we did have to see the direct move to the upside here in 3 waves, what we'd be looking for 1-to-1 would actually be over here towards this 4518. Now, an interesting zone for this actually is this area here, which is sitting in the golden pocket, which is this 45.76 to this 45.34. Seeing a 3-wave move down into this level could align with that idea of this just being a corrective structure here, where we see price come down into this lower range here, then look for that reversal to the upside. Now, within this count, effectively what we want to do is hold that 41 cent. Don't really want to lose this 43.607, and what we'd want to see is a 3-wave move down here, looking to complete this Y wave, and then seeing a break to the upside in 5 waves. Now, if this forms A, B, and C, and we get a move up to this 1-to-1, which would be within this yellow target box area we have here at this 61.74 to this 58.46 level, what we could see is some of these price targets get tested here. So we do have some potential here that we could flip this support into resistance if we come back up and test this 59 cent region. Alternatively, we also do have a weekly naked point of control up here, this 61.65. So I would be keeping an eye on this potential. If we do actually move up into this yellow box area, we'd also be looking for the potential of swing failing this high, and that could mean that we have this just as a corrective structure. Now, what we want to see here for the impulsive structure is that if we do see this as 1-2, we want to see this move up towards this 1618 here at this 72.66 level. And this would align with then having an additional 4th and a 5th to the upside here, where we look to target out this 81 cent to the 75.93. So this would be looking for that potential of a breakout here. And now if I overlay the other counts onto this, ideally what we want to see is this 5th wave across this 93.42. This is why I'm saying this is going to be a very key level. If we hit this 1618 here, then we do have that potential that within this count we could be extending out, and then we'll be looking for this additional series of 4ths and 5ths. If we fail to hit this 1618, we need to be very careful, because what this could be is, like I said, we're potentially looking for that idea of having a B wave up here. And if we do just actually get a move here where we get this as this could be A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that could be as simple as this move is A, B, C, and then we look to break to the downside after that point, where if we did form something like that, it would be effectively looking at this as W, X, A, B, C for Y. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. There's many ways of reading this currently. It is very choppy, so we need to get that confirmation. Now, one last thing I want to talk about here is the idea of this being a diagonal, which we discussed in the higher time frame video. We're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looking for this as a 5-wave move. So what I'm looking at with this count is effectively that if we do just get that A, B, and C to the upside, this could align with this idea of actually getting this as a diagonal pattern here. We could potentially argue that we have A, B, C completed already here, and we're already starting this deeper retracement here, looking for this lower target box. But I think that it would be more likely to see an additional push to the upside here. If we did have to start to break down here, potentially we could still look for bullish continuation, as long as we actually hold this low point of this 28.801. And we could see this then become an A, this become a B, and then we look for that C wave to the upside, looking to target out this zone of this 07749 region. So this is still possible. I'm still looking out for, as long as we hold this low here of this 40 cent 98. What we could see is that price still forms a 3-wave move up here, forming a diagonal pattern in this way. in which case we could then be looking for this C wave to potentially target out this area here of the 6351 to the 6216 region, looking for this as a fifth wave here. What I'd want to see here is, we cannot move above this 80 cent 22 within this sequence if we are looking at this as A, B, and C. If this move starts to push up towards this 80 cent 22, then it's more likely that actually we're just extending out directly here. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that as we see the moves form. On the daily CPR, we have actually lost these central lines. We've actually moved down to this R2 already. So if we do see price continue to break to the downside here, what we could see is potential to pivot off of this R3 here at this 46977. We have this area here of this 46449 area as well. And what we just need to bear in mind is just because we have these levels doesn't mean that price can't travel through these zones. If we do, we could actually look to just break directly through these, but there is the potential that we could look for price to pivot on these levels. Now it could be just a short-term pivot and then we continue down, or alternatively it could be a bigger pivot to the upside. So if we look to actually reverse, what we could actually see is if we do move back above these central lines, we have the potential to test out this S1 at this 48.65, the S2 at this 48.99, the S3 at this 49.49, and the S4 up here at this 49.83 level. So potentially we could actually see price look to retest some of these key zones if we do look to push to the upside. Alternatively, we do still have some of these lower targets which could look to offer us support within that count. Now if we are looking at the weekly CPR, I'm going to have a look at this now, and what we can see is that with this weekly CPR, we are still sitting above this R1 line. So I would be very interested to see if we actually get an interaction with this. This would be looking to bring us back into this zone of this 46.56 region. If we see price just move down here and this move is just corrective, what we could then see is that possibility of a move back to the upside here, looking to retest this zone of this 4933 to this 4990 region, looking to retest these central lines. If we do manage to find support on these, potentially we could see price break to the upside. However, if we do find this as resistance on the way up here, potentially this could be indicating that we could see a price move down towards this 44.136 and this area here of this 41 cent region. So that would align with that idea of breaking down in that C wave. Alternatively, if we do manage to hold this level and we start to break back up above these CPR lines, we have this target for this week of this 52 cent, we have this 55 cent, and this area of this 57.656 as possible target areas for this week. So that would align with that idea of having an additional push to the upside here for that C wave if we're looking at it in that way. Now we're going to switch this over to the monthly now, and what we can see here is that within the monthly CPR lines, we're actually just consolidating in these CPR lines. We are starting to move back through these, so we need to be cautious. If we start to lose this lower line here at this 4689, we could see price be gravitated to this R1 line. Now this would be quite interesting because this would align with testing the swing low here, so we'll be keeping an eye on this. If we see price break down into this, we also do have a target box here at this 44.94 to this 43.96 level, which could align with actually coming into the CPR line. Now if we are looking at that much more bearish case where we're going to see a bigger breakdown, we do have this R2 at this 36.60, we have the R3 at this 32.24, and that would be our downside targets for this month. Now if we do actually see price find support here and look to climb back through these levels, what we could see is a retest of this S1 at this 56 cents, the S2 at the 60 cents, or alternatively a move up towards the 68 cent region. So this would be looking for that idea of that break to the upside. If we had to see something like that playing out, would align with that continuation up where either we were looking at this as A, B, and C. That would align with that idea of potentially coming back up and looking at that diagonal idea. So we'd be keeping an eye on these higher levels here, potentially if we are looking for that continuation to the upside here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.